What's happening, everyone? I'm really excited to talk about tonight's swing fix. I know we've talked about driver, wedges, putting, and all those scoring elements, but one that is so commonly overlooked is long irons. And what we want to talk about tonight is why they're so inconsistent and how we can really shape those shots into being more attacking on a par 5 and really start bringing those scores down. The things that we're going to really discuss tonight are obviously those common misses. I know we've all seen that guy pound that drive 330 down the middle, take his 6-iron out and lay the sod over it because he really doesn't know what he's doing. We're going to help you guys avoid being that guy. And what we're going to really talk about tonight is how we create what's called dynamic loft and really how to create the trajectory that all of us struggle to do with these long irons. Part of it comes into just the simple design of a long iron, right? It's a longer shaft, it's really de-lofted, and our brains kind of go a little crazy when we grab these clubs in the essence that we think we need to swing really hard when really this is such a tempo-based shot using the proper fundamentals to get this ball launching high so it can land soft on that green. All right, so before we get into those common misses and obviously the drills to fix it, what I want to go over is setup. Just like in every shot in golf, it is truly the most critical phase, and a long iron is one of those that changes the setup dramatically to where we really want to make sure we have all the elements in place. So first things first, I want you guys using the grip you're used to, whether it's interlock, overlap. But then from there, there's one piece that we really need to stay conscious of, and that is tension. Grip tension is one of those things that really creates a lot of the casting and a lot of the flipping that I tend to see, which gets that ball obviously flying lower and chunkier, okay? From there, I want to talk about ball position, okay? I know if you guys tuned into the first swing fix, we were really talking about the idea of, middle, front, back, okay? 7, 8, 9 wedges, we always want in the middle. When we get into this long iron, what I want you guys to really think about is we need to create a little extra space from the middle of our body. So I always think about one ball forward with my 4, 5, and 6 iron. This is a very similar thought process that we would use kind of using a fairway wood, hybrid, stuff like that, to where we can really still create compression, but also start getting into that dynamic loft idea. From there, the other thing that really tends to help is widening up our base. There's 2 reasons for this. The first reason tends to do with the length of club. It helps us have a little more time to get that right shoulder to rotate in. But then the other piece is just giving the club a little more time so that club face can actually rotate to square so we don't have to use so much flip throughout the process. And then the last phase is obviously, just like our regular shots, making sure that we are setting our posture. And how I always like to think about this is think of a bar stool behind you and you are pushing your hips away. Why this is so important is it always comes into, we need to get into a golf athletic position. By pushing our hips away, that allows our chest to stay up, but most importantly, chest proud, rather than getting into that slouchy guy like Dan is on the weekends for us. We don't want to be this guy. The other thought that I always, tend to use with my students is this idea. When I stand like this, and this is such a common thing with men, it's really difficult for us to do anything athletic. So it's really important, like I said, push that bar stool out, get our ball position set, feel our chest up, and let it fly. So the first drill I want to talk about, I call it the in the pocket drill. What this is going to really help us do is feel that shallow plane as we are coming through, okay? Why this is so important with the long iron always comes into the length of the club. If we tend to come really steep at the golf ball, not only are we gonna lay sod and be the laughing stock of the foursome, but we're not gonna get any power on it, and we're really not gonna be able to create any dynamic loft because we're gonna be stuck, and you're gonna also be stuck looking like this. And let's be honest with each other, this doesn't look athletic, nor does that look like we're gonna ever be successful in the shot. So the pocket drill, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take 2 clubs, you're gonna put 1 club right down at your toe line. You're gonna want about a club head width between your toe and the stick, and then you wanna put another club right in line with your right hip. What this is gonna help us do is have a really good visual as to where we should drop it. So how you wanna do this is you wanna go up to the top, get your full shoulder rotation. From this position, feel the right arm drop down, and make sure when we're at the pocket position here, we wanna feel this left wrist, or some people control with their right, feel this bowing in the wrist. What this is gonna help us do is continue connection with that right elbow as we're coming into impact, so we can really make sure we're making that crisp, compressed shot, but also getting into the speed slot, so that way we can stay stable with the long iron so we don't end up chunking that shot. So one of my all-time favorite drills is the towel drill. Why this drill is so critical is it really helps us understand compression, but also really getting our low point dialed in. Why this is so critical with long iron, but also every club, just comes into the moment we let this wrist release, what ends up happening is we start casting the golf club. Why this can be so detrimental is that cast a lot of times creates that chunky, thin feel, but also manipulates the club path at the ball, which in turn really manipulates the spin axis. Why that tends to be so frustrating, especially with the long iron, is it exasperates the miss. You know, if we're off 2, 3, 4 degrees with a long iron, that tends to be a 20, 30 yard miss compared to with our 7 iron, where that tends to be about a 5 to 10 yard miss. So what this drill is gonna really help you train is the visual, but most importantly, really start hitting down on that golf ball so we can trap and compress it properly, okay? So how we set this up is we wanna get a club head width between our ball and the actual towel itself. We wanna do our same normal setup, and all you wanna be focusing on is not focus on this, because if you do, you will do like all of us and we will throw that club right into the towel, but start changing where your eyesight focuses towards the ball. Rather than thinking right here, I want you to also think just in front of the ball, so that way, as we are coming down, we can really start feeling that sensation of compression, so we start getting that proper loft and dynamic loft as we hit this shot. So I want to run through a couple of different sequences that are going to really help us create better dynamic loft, but also just keeping our head behind the golf ball. You look at all of the best ball strikers over this last generation, the Tiger Woods, the Viktor Hovlands, all of these guys that are incredible. Let's even say it, Scotty Scheffler. He's got crazy feet, but man, can that man hit a golf ball. What they all do incredibly well is they are able to create all of this momentum into the impact, but maintain their head and spine behind the ball. Why that's so key is it allows for spacing, so we can create extension, which is so vital for a long iron, but it also helps create that dynamic loft, so we're not just trapping the golf ball, which means punching it through to where it's just gonna release on the green. So a simple little sequence. We can use a door at home. I really like adding a foam roller or a water bottle behind me, and why that's so important for me is it helps me time out what I'm doing. And what I mean by that is the moment we feel this left leg hit that foam roller back is when the arms should start extending and rotating through. And so the simplest way to do this drill is we put our left side of our head on the door. Obviously, if you're left-handed, you put your right side of the head on the door. Then from there, we build that really nice posture. We load up without a golf club and pop. And what you really want to be focusing on is feeling that shift forward, full extension with the arms, and maintaining that spine angle behind the ball. So the other way we can feel this is with a med ball. Some of us have them at their house, most of us have them at our gym, so this is a really great tool for learning so many different sequences in golf. I use this a lot of times for my students to understand the swing plane, but for this one, this is another way to get your body to engage, maintain spine angle, and still feel this sensation of extension. Why this one really helped conceptualize this when I was younger was it really forced me to engage my core, where I feel like in golf, due to how light this equipment is, it's so easy for us to get lazy, lackadaisical, and just throw the arms at it rather than using our full body. So how you're gonna do this is, once again, put a foam roller or water bottle straight behind you. Feel this nice extension here. Go up and pop. And all you want to be maintaining, once again, is this idea of full rotation, engaging your core, and getting these arms extended off the body. So before we wrap up this swing fix, I want to talk about something that I see time and time again in my playing lessons, and that is that dreaded uphill or downhill lie with a long iron. What I want to talk about is a couple of simple little tricks to make sure that A, we start hitting the ball more flush off that lie, and B, quit being so intimidated from it, okay? So I want you guys, we're gonna use our imaginations here a little bit to think about uphill lies, right? What tends to happen? Well, that hill is forcing us off of it. And so one of the most important pieces of an uphill lie shot is making sure that we are actually maintaining our balance against the hill. So what I always allow them to think about is not necessarily going all the way out to my toes, but putting more pressure forward so I can stabilize as I take that swing back. As a simple analogy my coach always told me was, the hill's always going to push back. We need to fall into it. And so the idea is to maintain our balance on it. And then obviously when we have an uphill lie, we need to make sure that we choke up, okay? I see this so often where the ball is sitting like this and it creates that need to cast into it. So we want to make sure we are choking up, maintaining our balance against the slope. And obviously on an uphill lie, what's going to naturally happen is that ball is going to have a nice little right to left draw. So we want to make sure that we adjust our feet to the target, make sure we're choked up so we can catch it flush, and make sure to finish the shot. That is the thing that everyone messes up on these lies. Then when we think about downhill, right? The beauty of golf is we can just flip the script on this. So the idea of being downhill, what's that hill trying to do? Well, it's trying to push us towards that ground. So the point of what we need to do is we need to really hone in, and I always think about getting more athletic. I think one of the guys that did it probably the best we've ever seen was Michael Block at the PGA Championship. On that last chip shot where he got really low and wide, I felt like that was such a great representation on how to really handle those downhill approaches. And so whether it's a long iron wedge, we want to really sit into our posture. We want to feel our spine stay normal. And then from this area, what the ball is going to do is that ball is going to have that nice little left to right fade. So we want to make sure we focus in, sit down against the hill, put the ball in our stance, and play that fade off the hill. And once again, make sure we finish the swing. So whether you guys are practicing indoor or outdoor this next month, I want you guys to really focus on those feels and drills that we went over tonight. Whether it's the simple path drill of make sure we're maintaining that plane underneath and allowing that club to come around, or the dynamic loft drill by putting your head next to a door and really focusing on that tilt, or just running through those simple basic setup positions. That is what's going to make us successful on the golf course and start flushing these long irons so we can stop being so intimidated. And when we see that long iron shot, get up and let it rip. Thanks for tuning into the Swing Fix, and we'll see you next month.